Hey everyone, and welcome back to Ideanthro. Now, as you might know, I cut my teeth, or got my experience in this stormwater management space, working in asset management at Logan City Council. And one of the things that I learned in that space is that from time to time, as an asset manager, you're going to come across a stormwater system that perhaps you've never been to before, or you don't know a lot about, and you've got to get out there, let the truck go by. You've got to get out there and figure out what's going on. Now today we're in Margaret River in the southwest of Western Australia, and I got given a tip by a local to come out and have a look at a bioretention basin just outside of town. So I thought, okay, sweet, let's do it. Now when I got here, it turned into quite an adventure trying to figure out what's going on. So I wanted to make this video for you to try and demonstrate to you the process that I went to at a basin I'd never been to before, figuring out what's up. So, first thing is I walked in off the road over here. I knew that the system was somewhere in this bushland here. I walked in off the road, and the first thing I noticed was the creek line here, and the fact that obviously the channel runs around that way, but there's a constant base flow coming down the creek, and that it all seems to be flowing through this pipe here, which in a second you'll see leads straight to the bioretention basin. Now, that struck me for a few reasons. So, a bit of context. As I understand, it's been pretty dry around here recently, but it rained not yesterday, but the day before. It rained pretty heavily. It rained a little bit over that night, then it was fine yesterday, fine last night, and fine today. But there's still a lot of water coming down this creek here. Now, the thing about bioretention systems is that they are meant to be dry the vast majority of the time and only get water during storm events. So this base flow was immediately a bit of a concern for me. So like, okay, I know that's going on, let's go look at the basin. So, you spin around, and we can see the basin over here. So I wandered down and I found the basin. And the next thing that struck me was, okay, there's water in it, and there's ponding water there. And the plant species that are in it are more of your wetland type plants. So in a bioretention basin, you'll find, some grasses and that sort of thing that's, would grow in the riparian areas beside a creek, but not actually in the water. This bioretention basin has got lots of the wetland plants that actually grow in water. So I started to maybe doubt myself a little bit here, or question what I was going to find. So we've got a system that's totally wet, there's wetland plants in it. I've been told it's a bioretention basin, but I don't actually know that. So I was like, okay, I need to open my mind up a little bit more here and consider this could be meant to be a wetland. So I was like, okay, let's do some more investigating. Next thing I saw was the outlet pit right down the other end of the system. Now, outlet pits are great. If you're trying to figure out if something's a bioretention basin or not, an outlet pit's really useful because you can look down it and see where the pipes at the bottom connect in. And if you can see those pipes, it's almost certainly bioretention. So I went and had a look at the outlet, and let's do that now. So here we are down at the outlet of the system. Now, as I said, I was beginning to doubt if this was a bioretention system or a wetland, so I wanted to come down to the outlet and have a look and see if the under drainage pipes are connected in. Now I came down here and I found a few interesting things. So I'm going to grab the camera and show you those. Okay, so we found the outlet like this. It's got a raised grate concrete pit beneath it, and I found a few things interesting down in here. The first thing is that there is a little hole from the outlet pit here, but not a massive one. So I wasn't seeing any real evidence of the under drainage, but there is water seeping around the edge of the pit. So I'm not sure if you can see it, but the base of the pit has been cast in one piece, but then there are some circular or cylindrical pieces that have been placed on top, and presumably those were sealed, but they're leaking now. So we've got water seeping in around the edges of the pit, and that's happening at a level below the surface of the system here. So we've got some interesting issues here. It hasn't really answered for me what's going on with this system, and I'll just pass the camera back. So, found out some interesting stuff, but it didn't really answer the main questions about the system. And I sat here for a good 5 or 10 minutes pondering about the system. Then I did notice one other thing. Up around the edges of the system, I eventually noticed there are clean out points for the under drains of the bioretention system. So that did finally answer for me that it is meant to be a bioretention basin. I sat here for a few more minutes pondering what's going on, because the under drains aren't connecting into here, so they've got to be going somewhere else. And then eventually I spun around to face the direction that I'm facing now, and this is what I saw. I looked down here and realized there's a whole nother half to this system, right? And there's a lesson in this, and I get caught out by this all the time. I go to a system, I look generally, and then I find something and I get into the nitty-gritty of it, and I miss the big picture. And that's exactly what happened here. I wasn't looking at half of what's going on with this bioretention basin. So the next thing I did was wander down and have a look at this half of the system. Okay, here we are at the outlet for this second part of the basin. So this is the part that I've been ignoring initially. So I wandered down here to try and get a handle on what was going on in this system. And I noticed two things immediately. The first thing that I noticed was that there's a whole bunch of erosion around this edge of the pit. So there's something going on there that's not great. And the second thing, and you can probably hear it, is there's a whole bunch of water running into this pit here. Now this started to get me quite confused. I don't know what's going on here, to be honest, and I think that I would need the plans for the basin to be 100% sure. And the reason that I'm a bit confused, and we'll just wander away from the water so that you might have a better chance of hearing me. The reason I'm a bit confused here is that there was water coming out of the base of that system there, but only a little bit. And I subsequently found that that water was all going out into the creek over there. But there's heaps of water flowing through the under drains of this system, and they're not coming in the inlet, which are in the bushes over there. So I'm really quite confused. I don't know what's going on here. There's a lot of water flowing through this system, but there's no water in this second half of the basin. I simply don't know where it's coming from. To find out more about this basin, you would need the set of plans for it. Now I'm doing a bit of an exploration here, trying to figure out what's going on, but this is a prime example of why plans for a bioretention basin are so important. You can find out a fair bit about what's going on here, but you can't find out everything without the plans. So, before we go, I'll show you one more thing that I noticed. We just stay there with the camera, I'll be right back. Okay, I went and had a bit of a dig around in the system, and I had a look at the filter media. What struck me about it is this is pure sand, and it's really coarse sand. It is a little bit moist now, but it's not going to hold on to a lot of water. I would predict that the plants are going to have a whole bunch of trouble getting established in this basin. And that's another thing I look at really regularly. So look, that's about it for now. I wanted to try and demonstrate to you the process that I went through trying to investigate this basin. And mainly, I hope what you take out of this is that there's a sense of curiosity that you need. There's a sense of you need to get into the detail, look in the fine detail of what's going on. In this system, I looked at the fact that there was a base flow coming in. I looked down the outlet in quite a lot of detail. I even sat there for about 10 minutes. I came down to this outlet and had a good look. I looked at the filter media, but you also need to keep the big picture. And that's what I missed first up at this basin. I got into the fine detail too quickly. I had all sorts of hypotheses about what was going on with the first half of the system, but it was only when I kind of looked around and came down here that I started to get a full appreciation of what's going on. And even then, I'd need the plans to be 100% sure. Anyway, that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.